So we are live, Subhashish.
Fantastic. Excited to do this session.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking forward to it. And thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of our show, Subhashish.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor.
So, hello everyone. This is Falguni, and you are watching 43rd episode of Candidate Cicerone Live. And we have with us very charismatic, very eclectic Subhashish Mandal of the very famed account called the Bald Eagle. All of you who are on Instagram or on internet in general and following men's fashion would have definitely heard about him. And I'm so thrilled that today we have him with us on our Candidate Cicerone Live. And we are going to talk about men's fashion. Yes. After so many years, it's been 4 years that we've been talking everything around women's fashion. And a lot of people told us that, oh boy, but you're not covering anything around men's fashion. And we felt like, yeah, why? Why were we not doing that? And it just kind of everything fell into place, Subhashish. So
Yeah, I'm excited, and I think it's so relevant and important. And also, I think it's not just about men and women, but also about the ethos of what is it that you are doing with all your conversations. That I
absolutely,
think is which is a foundation, I think, for how you and I have connected. So I'm excited about that.
absolutely, absolutely. So before I kind of lead on the other questions that I have in pipeline, and we have so many people who have asked such fantastic questions, let me kind of
Absolutely.
introduce you this amazing personality called Subhashish. He's a practicing interior designer, architect, and his forte lies in designing those beautiful corporate offices. He spent early part of his career in Middle East and in fairly good part of India, and his style aesthetics or his design sensibilities are quite influenced by the rich Indian traditions and textiles and motifs. And you all will be very amused to know he started kind of writing, talking on fashion and lifestyle in the much later part of his career, which was like
Yep.
most like after 40s, and right
Yep.
now we see a lot of kids in the scenario. And
That's true.
yeah, so it's so exciting even to notice that somebody started, and for me, a guy started writing a blog and talking about design in mid 40s for me is like absolutely fantastic, So there you're high up there for me already, Bald Eagle.
Oh, that's very kind. It's very
And while he's doing all of this, he brings to light the design sensibilities in menswear fashion. He's an ardent supporter for local brands and local fashion
Yes.
and made in India, So with this as the backdrop, Subhashis, let's begin with the primary question. What
Yeah.
got you to start Bald Eagle? Why that name, and how did this all fall together?
So I I've always been interested in clothes and textiles and fashion for a very long time since I was very young. Uh, I come from I'm a Bengali. My mother is a very artistic human being, and I think she influenced a lot of my understanding of textile and she would talk a lot about it. My father was also very fond of good clothes. So I think I picked that up and my whole habit of shopping comes from him. Yeah, so hence the constant retail therapy which never stops. But to give you a quick window, what really happened was I had gone to the Middle East in 2005. I grew up in the Middle East as well, and but I went to the Middle East in 2005 to work, and I was there for 5 years. And I worked in fashion even before that in India and there. I've worked with various well-known designers in the interior side of their projects. You know, I worked with Manish Arora, I worked with Arun Tehliani, I worked with Abraham and Thakur, and I've done like an interesting couple of things. Like I've had the pleasure to see many of these designers grow and kind of learn from them. I think the thing that happened for me regarding the bald eagle very quickly was uh, Now influencing is something I had no idea about, and I perceive that I'm anyways not very good with apps and gadgets and tech and all that. So I don't have all this really spiffy, like really tech videos going on. So my content is quite simple, but it's just heavy in the message I'm trying to emote. And that's something I used to always talk about, and this happened much more after I came back from the Middle East, because a couple of years ago, someone said that you like to write. Why don't you write about what is it? And this will become a part of your, you could say, legacy, or something that you can share with other people, and something that people would be able to read and learn from, whoever that, however few those people may be.
Sure.
And I think that it started from there, and then I was doing Instagram for about 5 years, or from like about, I started in 2015 or so, 2014, 15, but I should not really post. Only 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I began to get very active with it. I began to invest in it. I began to work with it. I began to grow it. And, uh, and of course, like you mentioned, that obviously social influencing has become such a big thing in the past few years. And, but I think, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of doing my own thing, and it's a more limited audience, but at least I have a platform through which I can talk to people about something that I feel so passionately about. So that's like the way Cicerone is,
Yeah. Yeah.
in a sense. I mean, it's a very similar ethos, because you've done what you've done before in your life, and now you're using Cicerone to talk about something. And this, I feel, is the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
that we all need to stand up and kind of get everyone together and bring this resurgence of something that we take for granted very often.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's how it kind of, and the bald eagle, the name,
Yeah.
actually, I have to give credit to a friend of mine for that. I was already bald. I was, yeah, I'd lost. So yeah, I was already bald, as you can see. And what I did was, um, because so the eagle also comes from two things. One is that, I don't know if you remember, but the eagles were they were a way also messages were sent.
Mm-hmm.
Like people would send messages, they would tie it to the falcon. It wasn't an eagle, but the falcon. They
Well,
would tie it to, yeah, they would then send the message. And the bald eagle's actually obviously a well-known bird,
hmm.
which flies very fast and travels great distances. So, and there's a great degree of legacy of what the bald eagle, of the bird itself. And because I grew up in the Middle East, where the eagles and the falcons were also something that people kind of identified, you would see so many Middle Eastern people with falcons and eagles on their this thing. So, I mean, it kind of came from there, and then the look and the idea of the travel, something identifiable, and of course the love of traveling and constant exploration. So that's what the tagline of my website also is, you know
Wow.
constant, the constant exploration and the magic that comes from it. So
So,
that's the
how
background.
did you find your style? Because we all know we all evolve through the years in terms of style, also, right? What we
Hmm.
kind of wore back in our 20s or 30s or 40s is not going to be same until
Yeah.
and unless somebody has really found their style way early on. How has the transition happened for you?
So I think I, like all young, or like when I was growing younger, which is a long time ago. uh, no, seriously, I'm not joking. It is a long time ago. And I think what was happening at that point of time was, I went through the breakdance phase.
All
Like,
right.
yeah, like, I'm from that time. Michael Jackson.
I'm also from that time.
Yeah. So the breakdance phase, like, you go through the little bit of the hip and the funky phase. But I think what's happened is, over time, and I would say in the last 15, 17 years, um, slowly this love for, and also because of what I do at work,
Yeah.
because I do interior design, and also I've worked with so many people who do wonderful furniture, and they work with textiles, and I have constantly kind of explored the idea of with them, to see that, like, what are these textiles, how can we do something different. And the understanding of craft and all of that has come because of what I do professionally. And that gives a background for me to understand the layer beyond something that a lot of people take for the obvious.
Right.
That the fact that there is a cotton or there is a print or there's a block print. And there are people, and that's the reason why I wore this shirt. It gives, so this is done by Brigitte Singh in Rajasthan,
From
in,
Jaipur.
who has been in India forever.
Yes. Yes.
And she has reinvented motifs in block printing, even though she's not from here. But she married, obviously, she married a local man, and she built up a business. And I have known her work through Anokhi, through Rajasthan, through my trips so many times. And I think that that's where it starts coming from. The slowly, I began to realize that there is so much that's there within our own country that kind of becomes an important definer. And that's why I play so much with the contemporary, if you can say, which is global fashion senses, and a lot of the traditional, and I try and mix and match those, whether they are shapes or textiles or silhouettes or things like that. So I can have a story to tell in what I'm putting
Correct.
together.
Correct. That has evolved to embracing more of design elements and more of Indian textiles and crafts into it now.
Yeah. And the fact, and that has happened over time. Like, before it was, and now it's no longer the situation where people feel, and I think the audience is also changing because of that. And men are no longer saying that I have to wear a kurta only because I will wear it to a wedding or
Hmm.
to an occasion. Now suddenly, the same textile that you would see in a kurta is available as a shirt or as a jacket, and people can experiment with it because the textile is crossing the genres and silhouettes as well.
Sure.
And I think that all those opportunities are there. They're not a lot. I'm not saying it's very common, but I think people are slowly beginning to see it, and a lot of people are recognizing it. And I think maybe somewhere where Cicerone and this conversation is to help that, to say that, guys, for men especially, women are doing it already, but for men especially, you need to see beyond the obvious because there is so much to see and
Absolutely.
so much to, and become a storyteller about who you are and where you're from. Become that.
So let me bring that question back to you again, because you see there are so many things to experiment and men can do so many things,
Yeah.
but we don't see so much of experimentation happening in the mainstream men's fashion. There
Yeah.
are certain fixed color palette and fixed we know those 4 5 brands which men generally go back to, whether it is, if it's an office wear, people will go back to the Louis Phillips or Van Heusen or
Yeah.
Arrow or Wills, or probably newer age would go back to somebody like a Nicobar right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
or the luxury segment would go to the Savile Rows and the Ted Bakers and
Yeah.
who all.
Yeah.
But why do you think men do not embrace experimental fashion?
I think it has to do with sensibility. There's a lot of people who have, a lot of men who have this perception that a lot of people, and I think men also don't understand textile.
Hmm.
Forget pattern, forget anything else. They also don't understand the fact that there is so much available which is made here, which is quite simple.
Hmm.
A simple white shirt, a
Hmm.
simple malmal kurta, or like a kurta, like a malmal, like a cotton jacket
Hmm.
made out of khadi,
Hmm.
or like, a simple block print where the motifs, things are changing. It's slow, but things are changing. I think, like, for example, suddenly people feel that, like, there's no longer one blue,
Right.
there's no longer one pink.
Right.
Like, I will wear pink. I don't mind wearing pink. And
Right.
if I'm wearing a pink striped shirt, I can also wear a simple small motif fabric or a batik or an ajrak print shirt.
Right.
Or I will wear an indigo, because I think that the indigo is not just a blue, but it's an Indian blue, or it's a ferozi, or it's a pastel. And then I think that, going back to all the brands that you mentioned, that yes, it is very true, but also I think it is the point also has become is that I don't think enough of media is talking about it.
Absolutely.
A lot of media, a lot of magazines, a lot of style gurus, a lot of personal shoppers are not talking about Indian wear as becoming something that can become a part of your regular wardrobe.
Absolutely.
Everyone is still talking about them as occasion wear or something that you would wear to maybe a brunch once in a while or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a lot of the metrosexual men, which is, I think, an important term in today's time, who are suddenly saying that they would wear a Chinese collared white cotton shirt. And they would kind of take that and they would wear that with maybe like a nice indigo blazer or something like that. And also the bigger platforms, the big marketing platforms are not selling the basic silhouettes from Indian brands. And
Absolutely.
Indian brands are not, even if they select an Indian brand, they're not able to keep up with the production requirement that a bigger portal may require, like an Amazon or a Mintra or so on and so forth. So they'll go to a Fab India. But like, for example, if you, and then there is brands, platforms like Aza, which sell a lot of Indian wear and Indian clothes with it. But then you've taken that a little higher up. It's a little more formal. It's a little more dressy. It's not basic. So a lot of people, a lot of men don't realize that I can wear something very simple from a good Indian brand without having to go to, say, a Pantaloon or go to some which probably is made in China or something, but is not made here or is made in Bangladesh and something like that. Because that education and awareness is not there.
Sure. So this brings me to a very interesting conversation, which I have with a lot of people around me, men around me. And one point that I think a lot of women who are watching this show will agree to it, and I think men also who are watching the show would agree to it, that in a daily wear, office wear in India,
Hmm.
um, men have a perception of wearing only certain kinds of clothes,
Hmm.
and for those who are experimental, they feel they are generally either from the design background, or
Yeah,
probably they are writers,
yeah,
or either from they are from the LGBTQ community, you know.
that's right. Yeah,
And you are one of those only few open rainbow influencers who is
yeah,
there in the country right now, you
right.
know.
Yeah.
So tell me, how does one deal with this perception level? You know, how will this change come about? Because here we are again segregating interesting fashion to only few blocks, whereas if it has to get mainstream, what
Yes.
what is stopping them to adopt those designs?
So this is part of what I was telling you before. I think platforms, magazines, um, most of them are not talking about styling with the local and the vocal for local becoming a mandate. Influencers, a lot of the younger influencers have all this great audience, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's take, for example, TikTok.
Hmm.
I wasn't following TikTok, but my friends would send me videos. I was not on TikTok myself. I don't think I have the skill to handle something like TikTok. But if you see a lot of these young men, 18, 20, 22 year olds,
Hmm.
with a good following on TikTok, when they are posting their videos, they're wearing those ripped jeans with these with slightly formal shirts or like funky t-shirts which they probably picked up from like an H&M or from a sale or they bought it online whenever there's a clearance this thing. Surprisingly, their parents and people around them must be actually wearing local clothes only.
Huh. Huh.
वो तो धोती कुर्ते में ही घूम रहे हैं.
Correct.
But these guys, because they feel that they need to be cool, they will wear these ripped jeans and all of this because they think that's the only thing cool is.
Right.
So the conversation is how do you make this cool?
Right.
And like how does it become so it's cool, it's relevant, it gives back to the community, it's of importance, and because it tells the story. How is your ripped jeans telling your story? It's not. I have ripped jeans too, don't get me wrong. And I'm completely fine with it, but it doesn't mean that that's all I would wear.
Right. Right.
And then I also think as men get older and like they start getting, I feel that even men who are going and doing corporate jobs, they
Hmm.
should start wearing those palettes in simple ways, but with local brands.
Sure.
Like, you wear that white shirt, which is probably from a nice brand with maybe just a little detail or something like that or you buy the fabric, get it made. Some people maybe don't have that, but some people are like that. They said that, okay, I will get things made. And I think that conversation has to come as a complete resurgence. Like right now it's happening with craft,
Yes, it is.
big time. Everyone's talking about craft and all that, but it has not come down to men's fashion as a chunk because a lot of people are not talking about it. The magazines who are doing Indian fashion are only doing wedding. They are not doing men's fashion for a contemporary wardrobe unless it's very funky.
Right.
Like I could wear this shirt, and like anybody could wear this shirt with a simple solid blazer and a pair of jeans, and you would still have a story to tell.
Absolutely. I agree. So, absolutely, you're right that the Indian design or Indian crafts has still not seeped into the men's fashion at all. As in, it is probably at its very nascent stage, if it has to be.
It's there, but it's not widespread.
Correct.
Yeah. The
Correct.
brands who are doing
Hi, you're back.
sorry about that,
Yeah.
the virtual life.
Yeah. It's all right. I think we all have those technical glitches. So, it's
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
fine.
yeah. So I kind of have to get off my Wi-Fi and go onto my hotspot. But anyway, yeah, sorry. So I know that we're short on time, so I'll quickly just complete that last question. So I think that it's the media, the conversations, the styling game, and the fact that more people, I think it's a collective responsibility. Everyone has to start talking about it and realize that it's easy enough to do.
Correct.
All of that. I think that's what we all have to work
Majorly
towards.
around conversations and media houses, and I think they play a major role because everybody is
Yeah,
influenced by what they see, what they look in
correct.
television, in the magazines, in
Yeah,
the movies, all of it. And if
yeah,
those start taking the lead of representing men's fashion in a different way, probably the
yeah,
men will also take cue from it and start adopting to it.
absolutely. And if you see Indian men's fashion, if you see them in movies, they are always either very ethnic
Yeah,
or they are wedding or they are like, something which is extremely crafted. So I think that a lot of people say that it's too far. You've got to bring it down to a situation where it starts becoming a normal, like, just something that you could wear to work.
correct.
Something, how can you make your work look become like that? And some of the questions that was raised by some of the people says, how can I make this become, how can, like for a work look, just instead of going to a Louis Philippe and all of that, just just buy, like, just go to an Indian brand and buy a blazer,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
like, and then just pick up a simple white khadi shirt, and believe me, it's an investment that you will not be unhappy with.
So
Like,
I now quickly start asking the questions which so many
yeah,
people
absolutely.
asked, and let's go
Yeah,
through it like a
sure.
fighting round. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first question which I wanted to ask was, which are the couple of new brands which someone should check out if they want to kind of embrace Indian fashion in normal day-to-day wear?
So I think that, for example, one of the brands that I feel does a really great job is 145 East, because and the thing is, they can also do, so they're doing a lot of these checks. So instead of wearing a simple check shirt, you pick up a check shirt from them, which is slightly different. Uh, then I think that Manyavar, if you leave out the wedding set,
Uh-huh.
they do some very simple, clean cut design details. There are obviously, I also feel that if anybody has a good tailor, and actually all the ladies who are watching, I know that you have good tailors, and and they probably don't make anything for your husband. So instead of buying something for your husband from a shop, buy the fabric and get it made. I would really say that Varnam, whose shirts I think are amazing, they are so great. The quality is fantastic. Brigitte Singh, like the one that I'm wearing, There are some simpler designs and some clean designs. She's got some clean details. These are a couple of the brands that I think that you will want to check out. If you're going to Fab India, which is a great brand by the way, I would suggest that for something that you can use all the time, don't pick up a kurta.
Hmm.
Don't pick up a Nehru jacket. Pick up the basics. Pick up the solid whites. Something that you know that you can constantly wear. Pick up the blazers. Pick up the khadi fabrics. All of that. Get those into your wardrobe because suddenly you'll be able to wear it more.
That's a very interesting tip, Subhashish. Very interesting. So, Priyadarshini has asked, what do you think is men's grooming sense in India in general?
So first of all, I think the men's grooming situation has expanded huge folds in the last few years. One of the most important reasons is this, that suddenly every second man has a beard.
Of
And no
course.
longer can you grow a beard and not look after it because it's just going to look like a random jungle.
Yeah.
So beard products has been a huge thing. A lot of people have started obviously going to the salon for grooming and all of that. So, and there is a huge set of brands which is now doing grooming products for men.
Yes. Yes. That's an
So that
interesting.
whole audience has increased. So like all these ayurvedic products, all these all your beard companies, the man company, all of these companies have cropped up in the last 3 4 years, and they're just catering to men. So men have realized that they need to kind of keep up, and they need to look after themselves because the outside atmosphere is not helping you organically. So
Everyone's got to
so
take
yeah,
care of
you
themselves.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean absolutely. And as you get older, you need to look after you need to look after yourself.
Apply
He-
sunscreen.
Sunscreen, do your exfoliation, do your little scrubs. You'd be surprised on how many men, and the metrosexual men definition,
Mm-hmm.
they are all grooming themselves, and they don't come from the LGBT, and they don't come from the fashion backgrounds usually. Many of them are just corporate men, but
Yeah.
they're all metrosexual men because they believe that grooming. Otherwise, how are all these salons doing so well?
True that.
So,
True that.
yeah.
So Kinjal is asking, this how what kind of pointers would you give? If you were to give pointers at the top of your mind for office wear for men who are really not into very experimental fashion, what would be 5 tips for them?
Always have a Chinese collared shirt
Okay.
without fail.
Okay.
A Chinese collared shirt and one button, two button jackets. You
Hmm.
can combine the shirts with the jackets for sure. Make sure that you at least have the basic blues and the basic whites, a black. That
Hmm.
always looks good. Uh, Linen pants,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
always a great must have. So that's something that you can do. If you like to wear blazers to work, and if you wear ties to work, try and pick up something that's made from a local textile,
Oh,
something like a khadi silk or something like that, because then again, like, it goes back to the storytelling. And
that,
then like pick up blazers which are also kind of done by local designers, or a local tailor can just make a pattern for you, and then just you can go from there. That's one thing. Don't always have to wear shoes. Like on Fridays, it's nice to wear some nice Indian made sandals. They don't have to be mojeries, they can just be nice sandals, and you can wear that on a Friday to your workspace. By the way, also there are a lot of people making shoes here, like with ikat fabrics, and like Banjara, the company Banjara, Sannyasi, they're all doing some really cool stuff. So pick up stuff from them. Like you can pick, maybe the entire outfit is simple, you wear a pair of quirky shoes. So those are things I think that you should mandate have, so that like even if the rest of you is simple, you can experiment with the shoe or just the tie, or if you want to keep it super simple, just get a nice pocket square.
correct.
That's nice too. Or maybe just a little scarf, depending on where in the country you are.
Absolutely.
So those are things I think that just makes it really nice, and it just makes it interesting. So by
Absolutely.
doing very little.
Yes. Yes. So Kashish is asking, which colors can be worn for men in this festive season? Like, what colors should they opt for?
So I have something to say about that. I think a lot of people decide colors based on when they're in the festive season.
Right.
I think you have to decide the colors based on what works for you.
Correct.
Like for example, you in the festive season, if you're doing a daytime function, it's still great to be in a pastel.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a saturated color.
Right.
So I don't feel that you need to pick a color for a festive season. I think you need to pick details for the festive season. So if you want to make more of your wardrobe, pick up the silver. Always have a nice bandgala coat, like
Right.
a jacket, not even a achkan, because that becomes too much. A black and a white, and if you want to make it festive, just add the detail here, and you're
Hmm.
done. You know, maybe a little, the buttons could be colorful, or these buttons can be a little different. So colors, I think for men, first of all, I think pastels, pastel blue, pastel pinks, uh, like mustards are a very nice color. They are great for daytime wear, especially when you go to, if you're wearing them for festive seasons and occasions. I think for the nighttime, men will always want to wear black.
Yeah.
They're just, that's how men are. So I think that if you wear black and white, get the accents right,
Right.
get that pocket square, get that little, maybe a type in detail, sorry, a brooch detail, wear some interesting shoes, you can play up with your socks. So if you want to increase color, and if you're experimental, then you're experiment anyway. So
Yeah.
then there's nothing that I can say, but I think the pastels are very nice to have. So those are really great, whether it's pink, green, the mustard, those are all beautiful. So
Pastels look glorious, definitely. Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So Sanidhya is asking this question, Subhashish, that there is innovation that is missing in traditional menswear design. What do you think about that?
So I think we've covered a couple of these things while we were talking. I think innovation is is hard to find because you're either going all the way to the top designers who are doing something major. But I also think that it's not that innovation isn't happening. Like I feel that there are a lot of people who are doing interesting things. You just need to look out for it. So I think that the point is to kind of say that how can we look out for those brands. I would suggest look out online,
Right.
see, but I think also designers need to start realizing that when you're innovating for men, you also have to do the simple, like Abraham and Thakur, uh, Brigitte Singh, all of these brands, they've got a lot of very simple shirts and things for men that
Correct.
I think that it's really nice to kind of get in. Sannyasi, for example, does some very nice solids.
Yeah.
Simple,
Yeah.
just khaki and like white and black, and they do them with dhotis and all of that. So I think that yeah, Varnam as well I mentioned, like the simpler prints. So I think that it's there, but the locations are a little restricted. If everyone focuses, you can increase the brand awareness and talk about it.
Talk about it. Yeah. I think that's important. All right. So Jamin is asking, how does one improve the casual styling? So let's say, how does one style shorts in a better way? Some quick tips?
So I think that it also depends on what you're wearing shorts with.
Yeah.
So if you have, like everyone has denim shorts in their wardrobe.
Yes.
First of all, there are a couple of things about shorts. If the shorts are relatively that like they're mid thigh level,
Yeah.
then it is preferable to wear a shorter t-shirt or to wear something that you can tuck in, and
Hmm.
then you can wear nice sandals with it because your sandals will show.
Right.
Your shoe wear becomes important.
Yes.
So, and I'm talking about every product that I'm picking up, I'm saying that, so that I'm going back to the craft idea of it. So if you wear a pair of mojeries with it, if you wear a pair of nice sandals with it, you've got it going. If you've got slightly longer shorts, you can wear a slightly longer shirt or a half kurta.
Hmm.
And I think that those are things that you can do, and you can mix and match, and then you can still wear it with the t-shirt. So I think half kurtas, like the short kurta shirts with the little button still here, they always look great.
Yeah.
And for people who want to kind of go that extra step further, if you want to wear a plain shirt and you don't want to spend on a new garment, just wrap a scarf around it, wear some nice sandals, and you're done. You've got a really nice summer casual look going.
You make it all sound so easy.
It's actually not that bad. It's just a question of thinking about it. That, for example, say that I don't want to buy new shirts and new shorts. I have everyone has a white shirt and a black shirt. Everyone has denim shorts.
Yes.
Maybe you invest in a pair of shoes or one or two nice sandals that you can keep mixing and matching. Investing in a scarf is not that expensive,
Right.
and that same look will look different depending whether you pick up a different colored scarf, a stripe, a pattern, a block print, anything, and they'll all have separate stories to tell.
True that. True that.
So
So, Himanshi is asking, how can Indian wear be included, like the Indian kind of fabrics be included in semi-formal dressing? I think you've already covered that.
yeah,
Uh, hmm,
cottons, linens, or cotton mixes that companies like, for example, there's a brand called Ekmatra.
Eight matra. Okay.
So Ekmatra, which basically, and there's a company also called Leela. I forgot to mention these names. I'm mentioning them now since we still, if people get a chance. So on Ekmatra doesn't have is not very heavy on the Instagram page, but they do have a website. They do beautiful, simple solids.
Hmm.
Their work is very simple, well stitched. They're working with local craftsmen. All the handlooms are done here. Nothing is imported from outside. Everything happens here, and they are very well priced. You cannot go wrong. It's just that Ekmatra, which works with cottage industry. So Ekmatra and IC Leela, which is Leela Data Company, they've got some very simple silhouettes that are really nice to look at. And I think that just pick them up as shirts, pick them up as jackets, so that, like, just don't go to a Zara.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Zara can give you what it gives you, and it's great. I have so much stuff from Zara, but like I would wear a Zara jacket with a shades of India kurta,
Correct.
and
Correct.
I would go out, and they would both be simple solids, a simple blue jacket. And if you do that within the same wardrobe, you can do so much mix and match just because you're playing the game differently. That's it.
Absolutely. I think it's all thinking it in a different way.
Yeah, just it's like, you just get your head around it, and we just say that, okay, I'm going to try and just do this thing a little differently. I may have many people have a lot of these things in their wardrobe. If they just paired it differently, suddenly that look would become kind of interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one last question, which is one of the
Yeah.
pertinent questions which we started with. Priya is asking, are men sexist in grooming and adopting fashion to their daily lives, their thought processes?
uh, in the cities, not so much anymore.
You,
I wouldn't say so.
yeah,
Yeah, because I feel that people now in the cities have become much more, they've become much more aware. They are, that's why they all go to gyms. Everyone's get, like, everyone's kind of going to the salon. Everyone's saying that, oh, I will go. Okay, let's say if people didn't want to groom themselves, why would in the last couple of years Zara become so popular? Simple example I'm saying. Because everybody wants to look good. And when people are seeing that, then they are also seeing, so brands like Myntra, brands like Amazon are constantly teaching people that all this is happening. Influencers are talking about a lot, and most of the beauty products that are advertised locally by men are usually all local products.
hmm,
So I don't think that really exists so much anymore. However, if you go to tier two cities and other kind of backgrounds, maybe rural backgrounds, people are not that given because no one really has the time, money, or the indulgence for it. But as people are starting to go up to colleges, people are starting to go to study in the cities, they're all realizing a little bit more.
correct.
So I think that they're not sexist anymore. I just think that even if they choose to do it, they just won't talk about it.
Right, right.
They wouldn't go around and say that, oh, I did so and so and I did so and so because I feel that I want to look after myself and I want to groom myself. They may still be doing it, but they won't talk about it.
They don't want to address the vanity.
Yeah, and I think that because men essentially always have this thing that I will be vain in a way that is masculine,
Yeah,
and grooming is not always as yet considered masculine. So therefore, I will not be vain about that. But I will be vain about being a man and
Yeah.
not cook and not help my wife and do all this bullshit.
Yeah.
But so it's all very preferential because men tend to do that very easily. But I think things are changing, and I think it's dialogues like this which kind of help everyone to say that why not say it? Talk about it with your friends. If someone talk about all this, this is what girls do or gay men do or whatever. That's not true.
Absolutely.
I look a certain way. You guys always compliment me about how I'm looking, and I do that because I look after myself. So own it.
Absolutely. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
So
And
I think it's about owning it. Yeah.
owning it. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, you have to own it. And like I said, own it, bring it back into conversation, talk about it depending on whichever level you may be. And everyone's doing it. Otherwise, I mean, people who are going to the gym and all that, surprisingly, for years and years and years, people who go to the gym and all of this, they always get themselves waxed. They didn't think that was vain.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
It's all very convenient, no?
Yeah.
But now people say that I will wax myself because I'm a model or I just don't want facial hair or body hair or whatever it may be. Or I will have. So I think things are changing, but yeah, it's a crux thing to say that talk about it and realize that vanity is a prerogative that we all have if it's healthy.
Sure. Sure.
So
It has been such
that's
a
what I think.
fantastic conversation.
Yeah, thanks so much.
It has been such a
I think
fantastic.
there's so much to talk about, but of
Oh,
course,
it's already 43 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I am not stopping. Neither is he stopping, and we are just going on. We must do a second session, I guess.
yeah, absolutely. I think so. And I think it's also good to get other people to talk about it. Like, get different people and talk about a designer, an influencer, or someone like just somebody who believes that, yeah, this is something that needs to be talked about because then all those 3 people or 4 people will have different audiences and friends.
Totally.
So then you're reaching out to a wider demographic of men.
Agreed.
And then then I think then it starts becoming important because then the conversation begins to spread.
Agreed. And we intend to keep doing it because we started the men's fashion with you, and we hope to keep continuing doing this further ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm super excited to see how it goes. And
Thank you so much.
congratulations on this journey. And I'm so glad that you're doing it. And yeah, I hope everyone who's watching live, I don't know, hello to everybody. Sorry, my hands are disappearing in the background. That happens also. But anybody who's watching, if you catch my blog or if you catch me on Instagram, if there are more questions, please reach out. I'll try and send answers if I can. And yeah, so let's all and the ladies, please get your men to own it. That's the way to go.
Get to own it. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this show. Thank you, Subhashish, for being there with us. And we
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Sorry about the glitch in between, but lots of crafted love to everyone. Have a wonderful week, and we'll speak soon.
Absolutely. See you all again next week. On Wednesday, 4 p.m., we'll be announcing the next guest soon. Till then, bye-bye.
Bye.